I want to get to this Oakland A stadium thing. Did you guys see this situation in Las Vegas? So John Fischer is the owner of the Oakland A's. He is a billionaire. He is the heir to the Gap fortune, the clothing store, the Gap. He's a billionaire by any way you slice it. He originally was involved in keeping the San Francisco Giants in San Francisco, was a minority investor in that, kept a share until he bought the A's. He buys the A's, and now he has got a deal in place, and I think it's $380 million in public money, going to build a stadium on the Las Vegas Strip. And they had not released renderings or the full financial picture. Well, now we know the full financial picture. There's financing in place. This is probably 3.5, 4 years away from coming to fruition. And while we look at these pictures, the question I'm going to ask you is, how much more bandwidth for sports does Las Vegas have? Because F1 by any measure was a disaster in Las Vegas. They lost a crap ton of money on it. The citizens, the workers, the laborers that keep that town moving hated it. It screwed them. It made their lives impossible. They still have not removed all the infrastructure from that race. Like it was a brutal toll it took. And then they just dropped the Super Bowl right on top of Vegas after that. Like it was not good. How much more bandwidth for professional sports does Vegas have? Here are the renderings of the Las Vegas A's new stadium. And it is beautiful. I think it is incredible. You look at the net, that wall at the back here of the stadium, that is glass and net combined. It is, I think it's gorgeous. Yes, it looks like the Sydney Opera House. Don't care. I think it's beautiful. And you drop that on the Strip, I don't think it'd be an eyesore. I think it would absolutely enhance the view of the Strip. But is Major League Baseball fit for Las Vegas? And I got to be honest with you and tell you, I don't think it is. I don't believe that you can succeed with a Major League Baseball team in Las Vegas. The NFL is 8 times a year. The National Hockey League and the NBA, because I think that's what should go there next, the NBA. I think the NBA and the NHL are just enough. But why is the UFC so big in Vegas? It's occasional. Why did they even try F1? It's once a year. Every single day, 82 times a year is not going to, or 80 times a year is not going to work.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it works. I don't think that I think Vegas is very transient. I don't believe that you're going to sell out 30, 40, 50,000 seats a night. Okay, let's say are they going to average 20,000 fans a night? I don't know. My sneaking suspicion is, and having covered the A's and having covered San Francisco sports and knowing John Fischer a little bit, I think John Fischer will spend the money to win. Because that stadium is going to make him a lot of money. And his debt load is going to be managed very, very well. I think he will spend the money to win.
Mm-hmm.
I truly do. If they win, if they're in the playoffs every year, if they win a World Series once every 7 years, I think you could do 30,000 fans a day.
Right.
That's not enough to support a Major League Baseball team in a town like Las Vegas. You're getting that in Oakland. You just don't win. So they don't show up. I don't know. Is Las Vegas out of bandwidth, in your opinion?
I mean, I think it's not so much an issue of being out of bandwidth. I think it's more the point you were making about the style of the sport itself. I think that point about, the UFC being occasional is spot on. It's why boxing is so big in Vegas. It's why, these one-off things that happen once every 6-8 weeks are popular because there's build-up to them. And I think that for the A's to be successful, they do have to win in Las Vegas. I think, the other problem that I've always brought up with Major League Baseball is doing events outside of baseball. That's the beautiful thing about the NBA and the NHL situation in a lot of markets is they're because it is indoor exclusively and it's not a grass field. You have options. You can do things. And so that's why I say, like, I don't know I don't know. I think that's tough. I mean, we were in Vegas, what, 2 months ago now? It must
Yeah.
have been,
Yep.
and you don't really. And granted, baseball wasn't in season, so maybe a little bit of an unfair point, but like you don't really hear people even talking about baseball. Like they're much there. You got people losing their minds in the sports book about some random college basketball game. They're not talking about spring training or like what it's going to look like, and that's what I think is really tough.
Well, even in it, we were at, what was that, Aria? We
Yeah,
were at the Aria
like
Sportsbook,
I-
and there people are losing their minds on the NBA. Like we were sitting around a bunch of Knick fans, Sixer fans, Bulls fans. It was great.
like I much more think that this kind of concept works great in Scottsdale. Like that's what you need to do. You
Yeah.
need to put a new building in Scottsdale.
I don't know how this works. The NBA in Las Vegas would be an absolute home run. Yet you're getting Major League Baseball, and I just think it's a mistake. I think Las Vegas right now is saturated, in my opinion. I think they're at their limit. And I again go back to, you have the Raiders, smashing success, beautiful building, multi-purpose building, concerts, college games, like awesome.
Everything you want.
You have the T-Mobile Arena, great for hockey. Golden Knights have won. You love it. Great for the NBA All-Star game, great for the Pac-12 tournament, like multi-purpose, multi-sport, multi-event. Awesome. You have NASCAR in Las Vegas. It is one of the best events of the year. That track is out north. It's away from the city, and it is a magnet. It is a great event. F1 was a disaster. I don't know how else you put it. They didn't sell their hospitality because it was so far overpriced. They didn't sell out their tickets. They had a lawsuit because of the stoppage. Like the whole thing was a disaster.
Yeah.
And now you're talking about, and I think the estimates are what, 50,000 seats. And I just don't think that you can. I don't think that you can do it. Dumping 50,000 fans and even call it 30,000 fans on a Las Vegas Strip. What's the best part about T-Mobile Arena? It's not on the Strip. It's behind the city center.
Mm-hmm.
And so you park at City Center, plenty of parking, even on a sold out night. Park at City Center, you drive away.
Yeah.
In a baseball facility, you don't do that. You're going to have to figure out parking offsite. You're going to have 50,000 and let's say 30,000 fans walking the Strip at 9:30 at night. That's going to be a disaster. It just doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And I don't. Do you believe they will win?
Yeah, I think that they will. To your point, they'll spend money, and that will help them be competitive. Will they win? I don't know. They'll be competitive. They're not going to be so bad. They're not in any of these games. I can tell you that. But I think the problem is that people don't understand baseball. They don't understand the nuance of baseball. They don't understand the little things the way they understand them in football. And so because of that, baseball's issue has always been that people just want to see the home run and they want to see the long ball, and that's pretty much it. And so you're talking about baseball being in a time where we have pitch clocks and we can't throw over a certain amount of times and have all these new rules. And to me, it's made the game kind of like, yeah, it moves faster, but you've lost the point of baseball. And I think when you talk about fans and people latching onto the game, they're only there to see home runs, man. They don't give a damn how hard you throw. They don't like.
But again, let's say, and I think it is, and if don't crucify me when I'm wrong, but I think it's 35,000 physical seats, and they're going to have this terrace area where you're going to be able to put 10,000 fans in and around that area. So you're at 45,000 right there. Like you're talking about 45, 50,000 fans.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if it's a World Series game? Okay, cool. I can't imagine a Las Vegas MLB baseball fan going to an A's Royals game. I don't think 45,000 fans are going to see the A's and the Royals.
No, I mean, look, but I think that
the A's and the Angels.
It goes both ways, though. I think it goes both ways, where not every building is filled up every single day. It's just not how it works. Like Wrigley and Fenway and like the iconic parks are filled up because you don't have to care who they're playing. You're going there for the experience of the building. And they will get some of that because it's a new building. But once the new car smell wears off, what do you have? You've got a building in the middle of the desert with a team that's not New York or LA or wherever.
Yeah.
And you've got a transient town. Vegas is a transient town. Always has been, always will be. It's why it thrives and why it suffers. And so that's why I'm saying like yeah, they're going to have days where they probably only draw like 20,000, like 15,000. But then they're going to have days maybe on the weekends where they do a lot better.
When the New York Yankees, man.
And that's
when they're in town, you'll draw. When
the D-backs' biggest problem, bro.
Yeah.
It's not there. We're not going to watch the Cardinals or the D-backs.
You're going to watch the Cubs.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're going to, I think that's a great point. I think that's
so you're going to do that same thing in Vegas. And I think the only thing that has kept the Golden Knights as successful as they are is they did the expansion process properly. You forced the NHL to provide the Golden Knights with great talent. You said, hey, you can go out under this set of rules and get whoever you want. That's why it works, because they're good and people latched on and they like gold jerseys. That's why it works. So,
and it's 40 times a year.
Yeah. And going to an NHL game is fun.
That's why the NBA will thrive in Vegas.
Yes.
It's a pimp show. The NBA is that, hey, put on your nicest dress, put on your heels. Let's go sit at courtside.
Let's get a steak and watch an NBA game.
Oh, Adele's off tonight. She's over at T-Mobile Arena for the Lakers game. That's what it is. Yeah. And, let's have a prime steak dinner afterwards. I'll see you over at Mastros. I'm going to head out. I'll see you over at Mastros. Like, that's what you're going to get.
Yes.
You're not going to get that with the A's, in my opinion. Dak at the Tubbs, Sydney Opera House on the Strip. The stadium won't look anything like that once it's finished. I think it'll look close. I don't think anything like that probably is a stretch. I don't think that the photos and what we're talking about this is the rendering of the A's new stadium on the Las Vegas Strip. I would agree that this is probably not what it looks like at the end of the day. It will be in some form or fashion. It will look like that. And it's I think it's going to be spectacular. I think it will be akin to SoFi in Los Angeles. And if you haven't been to SoFi, it is spectacular.
Yeah, it
is unbelievable. But I think it will look something very similar to this. I do believe that you're going to see is this exactly what it will look like? No. But I think it'll be some remnant of that.
Right.
But you're right. It won't be, that's not the exact final outcome, right? Eric says Vegas is a hockey town because they won. 50,000 fans, way too big. Brandon says MLB requires a dedicated local population, which isn't Vegas. They already approved it, though. MLB owners approved it, I think, in December, November. They approved it. Based on my thesis project in architecture school off of the Lotus Temple, beautiful building, has soul. This stadium feels soulless. Yeah, it does look like a Lotus Temple. I would agree with that. Go Coug says could never have day games in the summer. They say that they have a ecosystem in that building that will allow it.
And I think people assume just because it's glass, that means that the heat's going to bake in. There's plenty of technology to have glass, but not allow the heat in.
And they say they took into account that. Look at how Tampa Bay is treated. Home games there are away games for the Rays.
Yes.
They are, and it's brutal. Robert Fowler, morning, Uncle Monty. Morning, Jake. Morning, Jake.
Yeah.
Are you guys still going to Mesa to watch the Cubs? We are. Looking forward to it. Jimmy Otson, 100 likes. Winner, winner, winner. Oh, are we at 100 likes? Hey, let's go. Yes, 100 on the dot. Appreciate you guys. Thank you. That awkward guy. People are clamoring to be sitting outside in a desert. Right? They're not. Jaron Eccles. That rendering looks like the Sydney Opera Hall. It does.
Yeah.
Exactly right.